good interaction of the day. And I found that such a strong contrast as opposed to another experience I had with a woman and a mother when I was in a wheelchair with a broken leg, escaping from a hospital that wasn't treating me and really needed assistance. And the mother told the child to just ignore me, which was quite a traumatic experience. So, I mean, you know, you really have to realize that I am traveling at the speed of a toddler. That's why the woman stayed there. You know, the child wanted to walk, she didn't want to be carried, and that's the speed that I was traveling, hobbling around on one leg. And we're getting into the evening now, but this was like the height of summer, so, you know, it didn't get dark until around 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I then came here and I had a choice. I can go home. I didn't want to go home. I didn't choose to go home. I decided that I was communicating with people, friends, and altering everyone's perception of reality, and that they were all going to meet me at this vegan restaurant, and that's where I was going to go. And as I'm walking along this street, and I've been listening to the sounds of the city, my mind tells me that I have cracked the code of city civilization. And so now I hop to a different rhythm. I throw my crutch to the ground, I clap twice, and then I hop and pick it up. And this is meant to be hacking reality and allowing me to communicate directly to the evil parties of the world. And then this is where every single conspiracy theory that I've ever half contemplated or looked into melds together in my mind, and that there's, you know, all these political conspiracy theories and involving world leaders and Hitler and all this kind of stuff, and basically that they all communicate on this sub-level to their followers. And now I've hacked into this live stream to their followers, and I am telling them to do stuff, and I'm getting them to jump out windows and step in front of cars and basically kill themselves en masse to try and balance out the world, to make it more sustainable and a better place and easier to live in. Yeah, with the kids in the car, really good choice there, buddy. And it's it was intense. It was really intense. And as I'm walking along, I get up to this corner up here, and there is this homeless guy. Like, and I mean, your real stereotypical bagman, dressed in rags, like lots of rags, carrying a trolley, drinking Jägermeister straight out of the bottle. He's covered in wounds and sores, and I'm trying to communicate to him. And I was trying to get him to give me his Jägermeister bottle in exchange for my grandfather's fob watch that I was carrying at the time around my neck. And what I was going to do was exchange this, which to me was a priceless item, for this bottle, and then smash the bottle on the ground. And this will show him that it's the alcohol that is the evil thing, and that it's somehow that will sober him up. I don't know. But he doesn't want to make the trade. And other people walking by are getting involved. Asking this homeless guy if he's okay. And anyway, so he walks off because he's like, fuck, this guy's too crazy. And I walk off. And at some point I bought someone a watermelon. I don't know how. And then I realized that I wasn't going to make it to the vegan place. My fatigue, my hunger, everything brought me to this pizza place, which is now closed. But I was here sitting at this table. I went inside, I ordered a piece of pizza, and I got a drink, some soft drinks, and I sat at this table, and it was, I mean, I was there until well dark, so I must have been here for hours. I would hop up from the table, jump back, take half my clothes off, put them back on again. I would crawl around on the ground. I would crawl inside because I was moving so slow but so fast that no one could see me. In my mind, I was living an imagined trauma of a child that doesn't make any sense even now. Some street punks were walking by, and I offered one of them something, and he took it, and then he took it without saying thanks. He just took it, and then I was like, in my mind, like, I'm gonna give everything until they realize that I don't want them to take it. And they took a lot of my stuff that I just gave them, until I started offering my clothes, and then they just like walked away and realized that I'm crazy. And at this stage, I was being controlled by the people watching me. I was no longer controlling myself. The actions that I was taking was all the voices in my head that were the thoughts of all the people around me. And in this building up here, there was a baby crying, and okay, so battery went flat, and I didn't notice, and I literally been recording and talking for the last half an hour. Nothing. So I was standing over there where we stopped at the pizza place, talking about how I heard the baby crying, and in my mind, this was, the baby was crying because it was being sexually abused. And this also tied in with what was going on later, like on the street, how I was tied into these evil right-wing kind of mindset that was controlling half the population of the world, and how they all abused their children. I don't know. I don't know what, but I was involved. So I was convinced that there was a baby being raped, and I was abusing basically everyone around me for not doing anything about it. And there was a couple standing at the window who were obviously intoxicated, who were just like laughing and pointing at me and joking at me. And so I was hurling abuse at them, and they were hurling abuse at me. And anyway, it got to a point where I just needed to leave that space. So I hobbled up from there, and I came to this intersection here, and I was standing at this U-Bahn in this street and talking, communicating with people in my mind about and I was communicating with friends and people I knew, and I was in the mind of one of my friends who lives up the road, and I was convinced that she was hurting herself and harming herself. So, and I was standing on this street down here saying, like, you have to come to me. I'm in too much pain. I can't move anymore. I'm too tired. I'm too fatigued. Come down to me, and we can take care of each other. And obviously she never came down because, but I was like, okay, then I'm going to have to come to you. And so now I'm on like a mission to save a friend from suicide. And as I'm walking up the street, I'm dealing with that. Plus, I'm dealing with being controlled by people's thoughts. And here's the best part. I have locked Hitler's spirit into a bathroom, into the guy that he's currently possessing, and he's locked in the bathroom by a special technique where I keep one eye closed and the other, and I don't look at anyone in the eye with the other eye, and then he can't escape through the mirror, which is all a portal. Yeah, pretty involved. And so as I'm coming up here, there's some people sitting on the ground or sitting on the step, and I offer them my crutch, which they don't accept, and then I thank them for not accepting, because they're not like the street punks, they're genuine people. And I see this tree here, and I'm like looking at the tree and blinking rapidly, and then this is the faster that I blink on nature, the quicker time moves. So now that I'm moving time faster and Hitler can't leave this bathroom, I'm basically starving his current physical form, and he's going to die. So if I maintain this, I finally rid the world of Hitler's spirit. Yeah, pretty involved. But saving the world ain't easy. So anyway, what I'm going to do is speed this up a bit. So as I'm waging war on 3 fronts, I'm hopping around on my left leg with one crutch, getting up here to my friend's place. Yeah. Yeah, which we start to find. So, let's stay in the middle over here. So, park my bike for a sec. So, this was where my friend lived, just here in this building. And there were tables set up at the front because it's the middle of summer, drinking, talking, carrying on. And I'm trying to ring the buzzer and open the door, but no one's answering because this isn't actually my friend's place. But I believed it was, but it's not. And I'm trying to get in, and I'm convinced that she's killing herself, and I'm also in extreme amounts of physical exhaustion, pain, everything, and it's 1,000 times intense. And I'm also gibbering on about how one of these people might be Hitler, which doesn't make sense because I got him locked up in a bathroom. So anyway, and then as I'm hopping back, because I left my bag back over here, I realized there's actually groups of people now kind of standing around watching what I'm doing. And there's some alcoholics on the corner sort of cheering me on, kind of laughing and making fun of me. There's, I mean, it's a, I think it was a Friday or Thursday. There's people around. It's about 11, 12 o'clock at night now. And there's this big church here. And anyway, as I'm hopping around, I'm going forwards and then I'm hopping backwards and I'm hopping sideways because this is what people's thoughts are telling me to do, even though it's obviously the voices in my mind. But at the time, that's what I believed, and I wasn't controlled anymore, you know. So I take my shirt off because that's what the thoughts were telling me to do. And now I'm hopping around without my crutch. I leave my crutch there. And I'm just hopping around on one leg in the rain. I'm covered in tattoos. I look like not just a crazy man, but I would also look completely drug fucked. Even though I was completely sober in this context of this city, I would look like a completely drug fucked lunatic. And I come back and I'm trying now to force myself into this door. And then people are obviously wanting to stop me. And then, obviously, because I'm near a fucking church, there's some group of Christian women who corner me in this doorway, and I'm curled up in a fetal position in the corner of the door while they stand over me and pray, literally in English, Spanish, and Latin or something. I don't know, but it was like, it was fucking crazy, man. And I'm just like, what the fuck are all you crazy people doing? Let me go. And then someone pokes their head through the legs of these people and says, keine Sorge, ich habe die Polizei angerufen. Also, no stress, I've called the police. So at this stage, I'm like, fuck this. snap back into a bit of reality and realize I got no shirt on, I'm completely wet, I look completely fucking crazy, and now the police are coming, I'm gonna get shot. That's what the police do. They shoot crazy people. Not so much in Berlin, but in America. And, you know, I'm paranoid. So I start hopping back this way, back along the street, and I make it to here. And these poles weren't here before. And all of a sudden, there is a police car from there, a police car from here, and a police car from up here, and a police car from behind me. And everyone makes space around me, and I just lay down on the ground right here on these cobblestone, bluestone road. And then with my hands already behind my back, waiting to be cuffed and dragged away to wherever they're going to take me. But they don't do that. They jump on top of me. About 6 officers come and jump on top of me. I actually have one of my ribs cracked on the stones. And even though my hands are already behind my back and I'm posing no threat and I've obviously got a leg cast on, they start pulling my hands up behind my back, trying to dislocate my shoulder or break my arm. And I just am, like, I'm in a psychosis. I am actually experiencing what one of my friends affectionately calls, which is definitely not politically correct, retard strength, where you don't experience pain and your physical senses are so dulled that you have extraordinary amount of strength that you can call upon. And so that's what happened. And anyway, I was able to pull my arms back down and started screaming, police brutality, police brutality. At this point, the crowd around me actually started coming in to try and stop the police from being so forceful, which then turned the police onto the crowd of people, and the whole thing started to escalate dramatically. And then there was all sorts of chants and things like this for them to just leave me alone and whatever. Finally, someone of some authority stepped in. At this stage, I've been dragged from there over to the police car here, slammed against the police car, and have my head held against the roof of the car while I'm just staring at the light. And then this guy of some authority comes over and says, look, obviously he's injured. Obviously there's a crowd here. Obviously we're not handling this situation very well, are we, people? Yeah. Opens the door, sits me down in the car. Even though I'm handcuffed, so I'm sitting on my hands and cutting off the circulation to my fingers, whatever. And the whole time I'm communicating with people, and I'm telling them to calm down, and it's okay, I'm the sacrificial lamb, whatever, it's fine. And they run all their checks and everything and talk to everyone, and then realize that, okay, this guy is probably just drug fucked and not in reality. But I wasn't, I was sober, and I was just in a different reality. And so they put me in an ambulance, and I get sent off to the hospital. And as I'm in this ambulance, there's a police officer in this ambulance with the 3 other medics, and I'm at this stage really hit with all the fatigue and how tired I am and how I just want to go home and how much pain I'm in and how hungry I am and how thirsty I am. And all I want to do is just sleep, but I can't sleep. But from my experience in the police car, I hear the radio bleeping and carrying on, and them talking over the radio of all the different police channels, and what's happening in reality, and the sounds of the city and the sounds of everything. And I realize that there's like this this background communication, this code running in the background of society, and the fact is that the police are actually operated by this code. You know, they're basically run by a machine. They're living in a different matrix, and the people that are living out on the street, you know, or living in the city, you know, from all the street noise and stuff, this is what they experience, you know. And yeah, this is pretty it's pretty intense, and but I'm convinced that I can crack the code. So I'm in this ambulance sitting there, and they're all looking at me, and I'm half falling asleep, and then every time I come to, I'm clicking my fingers, I'm clapping my hands, I'm saying some words, and I'm blinking my eyes. And this is meant to not only reset time, it's meant to go backwards, and I'm meant to be the only thing that will realize it, and then I can start it all over again and do it all properly. But it's not resetting, obviously. Time is not going backwards, obviously. And this is really confusing me, and I'm really scared now. And what I'm scared about most is that what I've actually just experienced can't be undone. What I've actually just gone through and what everything has happened in this last months cannot be undone. And it really hits me like a weight of bricks, you know. And you know, I guess in a way, this is me getting a realization that I might be severely unstable, or worse, completely and utterly crazy. And I kind of shut down a bit, and I just go super silent and super unresponsive. And I'm really in my own little dark realm where nothing is really, everything is shut down. It's just sensory overload. It's too much. So I end up at the hospital. They do all their tests and realize that I'm actually not on drugs and I'm not drunk. And so, yeah, they have to assume that I am just completely crazy. So they have to take me to the crazy house. And I just want to go home. But they won't let me go home because I live alone, and now that they've picked me up, it's now technically I'm in their care, so they have to take me to the crazy house. But I don't think they're taking me to the crazy house. I think they're gonna kill me, right? So they're trying to get me into the police car, just nicely by talking to me, and I'm really slowly trying to walk away with one crutch and one leg. And it's really quite funny because they're kind of talking to me like I'm a dog, like, come on, get around this outdoor, come on. And I'm just slowly trying to walk away, like, let me go home. Anyway, so fuck you, sit in the car, and I refuse to engage in them because I'm like, you know what, you might kill me. You might be taking me off and just shoot me in the head and make it look like a suicide, and no one's going to know what's happening. Everyone's going to assume that I just killed myself, and I'll just be another fucking crazy person on your list because that's what they do. And I'm like, I'll be fucked if I'm going to talk to you. And anyway, we end up getting there, and I literally thinking I'm about to get shot in the head, and I end up going into this this clinic where I guess I should ride to next, huh? It's actually a bit of a journey. So, well, I'll talk about getting the clinic on their way. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad.